Welcome to Caching Waves. This is an Elliott Wave update for FLR. Now this is off my last video 2 days ago. We had our low potentially in and a 3-wave move to the upside, as well as a 3-wave correction as an ABC. Now from this point, I took an entry right at this level, right near the 1-to-1 extension of this first wave down off the pivot here. At the 1-to-1, you can see at 3.098 cents. And I was looking for continuation to the upside. Now I explained that this area is difficult because we don't have 5-wave patterns, and we're expecting 3-wave moves to the upside as we're in a larger term diagonal. I'm going to go over all those counts. I just want to show you how things have changed since 2 days ago. Now, as of right now, my stop is still at this low, but I am going to make some adjustments here. So this was that area. We had our A, B, C. This is where I took my entry. I was looking for this move to the upside. As of right now, there's my current setup. Currently slightly in the profit, but as you can see, we didn't get that pivot we expected. So what is happening instead? I'm just going to get rid of this for now. You can see I'm slightly in the profit. So I put on our channel to the downside. And what I'm actually considering is the fact that we are in the middle of a B wave. When we look at this move to the downside, when we didn't get any follow through, it looks more like a 3-wave pattern, which is indicative of a B wave. So what I think is actually happening here is this is an A, B, working on a C, or this is WXY complex structure. So what I'm looking for here is a 3-wave move. Looks like potentially a expanded flat in between, so looking for 5 waves up here for this B before we get continuation to the downside as a C wave, and this creates a larger correction, and then we attempt our upside. So this is what I'm considering happening currently at the moment on FLR. Now this doesn't look impulsive by any means to the downside. I do like how high this came. The only way this would be wrong is if this was more of a double top. We got a truncation, and this is actually a wave 1 and 2 to the downside, and we continue on. But as of right now, that goes obviously against guidelines. We won't know until we get a sell-off there. So as of right now, we'll put on our we'll put on where we would expect a B wave in a running flat, low to high, and you can see we came right between our 236 and the 382. Now to get that, you just pull the extension from this first A wave for your potential B wave. That's the ideal zone in a running flat we would expect. Most likely this would be, a WXY. This is a 3. Whether it's from here and this is an expanded flat, or it's from here and this is a zigzag, we'd be looking for a 3-3-5 to the upside for our B wave or X wave, and then we come down and make a equal length as our A wave for our C before attempting a new move to the upside. So that's what I'm looking at currently. Now obviously I could be miscounting this, and this could be just be a double zigzag as a WXY here, and we could actually be getting moving right now to the upside, but this looks most likely the scenario, just looking at this pattern using my experience. Now I'm not going to take profit in this area, so what I did is I pulled from our A off our B, or our W off our X, whichever way you want to label it. I'm just going to call it an ABC for now. Our ideal zone is the 618 and the 1-to-1 extension of this A wave off the B, which is between, can't see that, .264 and 3.423 for this B wave. We might get some sort of false breakout just out of this trend line and then reverse hard for that C wave. Very possible. But what I'm going to do, just to make sure I don't give back too much, I am currently in the profit. My entry was right around here, stop right here. I'm going to be running my stops at the 618, just past that. So off the previous pivot, I'm going to keep pulling as this wave fills out and put my stop just past the 618. And as this gets moving, obviously that stop gets raised. But this should be at worst a break even at this point. Right now my stop is moved to this previous pivot just for the fact that this can happen. And if this does happen, it just allows me a better entry and a larger position size in the future. Okay, so now that we have that figured out, so again, our bottom can be in a complex structure, and we just got a very deep retracement, and we do end up breaking out up here. Or this is a B wave as an A, B, C, in which case I will raise my stops just past the 618 of the last wave up as we go. All right, so my bias is we do get this move though currently. Now we need to talk about the larger term time frames, because I am getting a little bit concerned of this trend. I wanted to show you my alternative. So we have this panned out as a diagonal. Issues with that. Originally we wanted to pivot right here off this low to come up for our fifth wave, just to have the right look, not rules, just what I look for, and how my mind starts to change to the alternative. We're still at between the 618 and the 1-to-1 in time of this third wave, so that is still valid, but we want to see this continue from here, from this area. We can get that slightly lower low, but we don't want to come much past the 1-to-1 in time of this third wave before we completely change our bias. I want to show you other things I don't like about this, but first our target for that fifth, just general guideline target, would be 7.736 cents if we get this move here for our fifth before our larger consolidation. So I want to focus in on this area and show you my concerns about that. So depending how you count this, it's very complex. If we pull our W wave off our X, we usually expect a 1-to-1 in time. I've been looking at this chart for quite a bit today just to get the best possible scenarios. So you can see we would actually expect this Y wave to not complete till this area in time, which is the end of April, if we're going to get equality in these waves. We can just get this fast drop off and that's it. I'm just saying overall, where do probabilities have us going? Because it's best to obviously trade with probabilities most of the time. We have not even hit a 618 in time for our Y wave. So what that has me considering is the fact that potentially this is a different count. This is something complex as a WXY for an A wave, and we actually come further to the downside. This is my current concern, and I'm not here to spread FOMO. I know people are very passionate about this coin and they get very upset when I say anything negative about it, which is funny because I'm just trying to help people learn how to trade better. So if that's the case and a top is in our ideal area here, I pulled that out just so you're aware of it, is this move in time between the 618 and the 1-to-1 in time, which takes us out till middle of May or all the way out to first week of July. And if you pull the Fibonacci retracement tool off that high and the low, that has us between 1.722 cents and 2.167 cents. So that's just something to keep in mind. And how would we get there? Well, again, we'd look for the 1-to-1 in time of that W wave off the X. Just for demonstration purposes. So what I would expect is we're actually in the middle of a three-wave pattern, where this is just a three-wave pattern, as potentially a W wave. Then we get a counter trend move to the upside, and then we make another complex correction to the downside. So we just kind of drift sideways within this downtrend channel, you see. So as you can see, there's a lot of problems with this correction. Nothing's invalidated yet, but if we're going to make this move, it pretty much has to go very, very soon. Otherwise, this becomes my primary. So I'm going to talk about how this can break down from here. As you can see, we're getting dangerously close to the bottom end of our warning line here on our pitchfork. So if we drop below that, it's pretty much over. So let's talk about this. So if we are in the middle of a three-wave move here, and we come down, where would we expect to pivot? Well, we would expect to pivot between the 50 and the 618 of this last move to the downside, which is between 3.552 and 3.803. If we look at the previous one, just to give us an idea, that one was at the 50. So right in that zone is where we would anticipate a pivot and continuation to the downside. So if this scenario is playing out to the downside, the ideal area I would look for is a 1-to-1 extension when this correction is complete. So if we talk about what we talked about earlier and we end up getting this B and the C, our pivot would change. This is our extension. And we'd look, we might even come a little bit lower, we'll see, but we'd look between the 618 and the 1-to-1, which is right in that zone. So we'd be looking just for this move to the upside, making a larger three-wave move, and then continuation to the downside. So I'm going to be very active in following where my stop is in this trade, because I am long currently, as you are aware, but I should not lose money on this. And I will offer a trade setup and what I am taking, not financial advice, just what I am taking. I will give that setup once we get that move. But as of right now, my stop is no longer at this level. It's been moved up to this pivot. And as this wave fills out, I'll be moving it to the 618 of that last wave and look for a re-entry if we fail here, just to that 3.8-ish cent zone right here. All right, hopefully this scenario doesn't happen. I'd prefer us just to get moving here, make a 5-wave move, and then we get a complex combination here, trend sideways. This is ideally what I'd like to see. Keep moving up in threes, up to that 7-cent area. But if we have any resistance from here on out, it's not looking good for all the reasons I showed you previously. Length of this Y wave, the fact we're falling out of our pitchfork, the amount of time compared to our wave 2, all these things are becoming serious issues we have to pay attention to. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful. That's it for Flare. I will be updating this on the regular. Thanks for watching.